Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Metabolism and Menopause podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I'm your host and CEO of Vitality OET. We are a women's health, fitness, and nutrition company that focuses predominantly on women's hormones, particularly as they start going through perimenopause and menopause. We know that a lot of changes happen during this time in your life, including night sweats and hot flashes, irritability, brain fog, and then, of course, that lovely weight gain around the middle that seems to have come out of absolutely nowhere, despite not doing anything different than you were before. So we know now your body is inherently different than it was before. So our mission is to teach you about your bodies, make sure you have a life full of vitality, feel at home in your body again, and then really help you achieve your goals, but most importantly, helping you understand and how to take care of this new body of yours. So today I have my first in-person guest, which is by the time this launches, he'll be my husband, but future husband, Taylor Crassweller. And today we want to talk about enjoying the process and how to actually reach your goals by utilizing that. It really is the secret to getting to your goals, and honestly, the key to happiness, in my opinion. I genuinely enjoy growing and learning and the process of most things. And this is something that's been a very common theme in our life that we've been working on ever since a hike that we went on in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. So Taylor, why don't you tell us a little bit about that hike?
I think it's super nice of you to say that we have been going through this the last couple of months, because I don't know that we have been, but you have been there with me as I've been discovering a lot about myself. But yeah, that hike in Hawaii is really what kicked it off for us.
It really is.
So we went to Hawaii. My buddy was getting engaged. We went to surprise them. The whole thing didn't turn out the exact way we wanted, but we went to Hawaii because of that. And we had some time by ourselves, and we both like the outdoors. We like to hike. We like to get out. And so we're like, yeah, let's go for a hike. There's this sweet waterfall hike. And I'm like, yes, this is going to be so fun. I'm going to love getting to the waterfall and seeing it. And that's as far as I pretty much thought.
Take some pictures.
Yeah, we'll take pictures. We'll document that we did this hike. And then let's get out of here.
So we do this hike, and Taylor's pumped. He's happy. I am super quiet on the ride home, which is a red flag most of the time. Mm-hmm. But let me set the scene for you a little bit.
Set the stage for them.
So it's raining, and kind of grumpy, kind of not. I'm pretty pumped about the rain.
I was grumpy at first, and I was like, oh, this is going to ruin our hike. This weather is just going to ruin everything. And then I flipped into my competitive athlete side, and I was like, yeah, we're hiking in the rain. This is going to be such a good story. We're battling adversity. All these things are going through my head. And so I turned my tune from being a little disgruntled and upset to being really motivated.
And it doesn't make for a good story, just not the kind of story that he thought it would.
Yeah.
Different kind of story. So we're going, and we're not doing this hike together.
I carried you across a puddle.
He did piggyback me. But he was probably 25 to 50 meters-ish ahead of me most of the time. Meters
is a little aggressive, but yards.
I don't know what that means.
I think they're actually pretty much the same thing. Yeah. But anyways, keep going.
So we're going, and he is being so dialed in. He's like, oh, these people are going too slow. I got to pass them. People shouldn't be able to hike here if they're not prepared for it.
True. But there was small children
who
in
were adorable
ponchos. Yeah. And they were in these big colorful ponchos. And it was here's a red stop sign. And I was like, I'm blowing the stop sign. I'm going around these kids. I'm going around these seniors. It's a beautiful hike, and you get to a waterfall, and everyone's excited to see the waterfall, right? So everyone has a right to go walk and see a waterfall.
That was not what you said.
No. Yeah, no. That's what I'm realizing now, babe. At the time, I was like, why are you doing this if you're not able-bodied and you're not athletic? And get out of my way. I got to get to the waterfall. And you're all slowing me down to get there.
So Taylor's not enjoying the scenery and stuff, I am like looking at all the trees and the vines and these little kids in ponchos. You know, like the it's fairy godmothers in Cinderella, like the little like ponchos. Like
no, you're talking Sleeping Beauty. The three of them. The three of them in Sleeping Beauty. There's
Sleeping
only
Beauty?
one fairy godmother.
Okay,
in
so I've been telling this story
Disney
wrong
expert.
every
I'm a
time.
Disney expert. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So Sleeping Beauty, the like three fairy godmothers that have like the pink and the blue. Yeah. So these little kids these little kids just looked like them. I thought it was so cute. And I'm like watching these couples like holding hands, trying to like not step in the puddles and walking on the rocks. And Taylor is just on a mission to get to the top. So he's happy at the top. He's like, let's take some pictures. Stephanie is not happy at the top.
But I couldn't tell at the time.
No, because he's very focused.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we get to the bottom of the hike and, or we're walking down. He's like, hey, was this tree here before? It's so cool. And I'm like, this is where you were erratically just trying to pass these cute little kids because they were in your way. And he was like,
I can't deny
whatever.
This.
Yeah. So then we're on the car ride home and he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, was that a good experience for you? Because that was not a great experience for me.
And I'm like, we got to the waterfall. We took a picture. Like, we did it. We checked that off the list.
Yeah. Checklists. This is a
theme.
This is a very big theme also. Yes, it's good to have checklists. Yes, it's good to have like goals and it's awesome. But like enjoying the process of getting to those goals, doing the hike, enjoying that and like slowing down, super important.
Yeah. And it was like, I don't even know how long after, but it was like pretty soon after because I don't like to let things lie. Like, I'm like, hey, let's deal with this. Let's talk about this. Like, let's work through this. So I have like a growth mindset as well. It's just like very different than yours, but it's starting to become like closer the more we like talk. But it was shortly after we got back in the car or maybe back to the hotel. And you were like, I have a question for you. And I was like, all right, shoot. Like, I know the answer to this. And you're like, what? I forget exactly how you worded it, but it was something along the lines of like, what brings you joy or enjoyment? Or like, what do you actually enjoy in life? And I sat there and I was like, oof. I like, I enjoy, and I couldn't come up with anything. Like right there on the spot, I could not come up with anything that I legitimately enjoy everything about. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I like making my corn maze, but I don't enjoy everything that goes into it. I'm just like, yeah, I created this corn maze, or like different things with work, or like different things in my life. I'm like, okay, just got to like check it off. Got to get through the list. And like, I experience joy
by just getting
in like
done.
The check mark.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. Like the big realization I had was like, if you're a checklist guy, and like this was not just me realizing it, it was like through our conversation. Mm-hmm. But like if you're a checklist guy and you live your life as a checklist, you just keep checking things off. And like the point that I hit was like the last thing that you check off is like, I died. Like, what kind of life are you living? Or like, I heard another example somewhere, and it was like, if you're always like climbing the hills and you're like climbing these mountains, like once you get to the top of your mountain and you are like a checklist person, you look out and you just see like 1,000 more mountaintops to climb. And you're like, whoof. So I'm like, is this the kind of like life and like kind of like mentality that I want, like moving forward in the rest of my life? Like, I'm a grown adult right now, and I'm just realizing that like I have not enjoyed anything. Like, I'm sure there has been things that I enjoyed, but I couldn't think of them at the time.
Well, and I think it's also like we can tie this into like weight loss and nutrition and things like that. It's like we're so focused on the end goal and like where we want to be and all that stuff that all this time is going to pass anyways. So why not enjoy the process and learning and like embrace this new person that you're becoming? Because if we're always so focused on the result all of the time, like that just leads to misery. And then if every day you don't check that box off, you're upset because you're not there yet, as opposed to like focusing on all the things that you are doing and accomplishing the person that you're becoming.
Right. And like, I'm not huge in like the health and fitness world and like stuff like this, but the mindset stuff that I've like heard you talk about with like the program and the women in your program and how that's like such a forefront to everything has made me like take a step back and look at my life and like the work that I do and stuff. And like we have a family business. And so I work with my sisters and my mom and my dad. And I have like had this thought ingrained in me that like if I'm not checking off my checklist, if I'm not succeeding at that part, I'm failing. And I hate when I fail. And then everyone else thinks I'm failing, which is like an internalized thought that I have for other people. And it just like put me in this state of just like, I'm always sprinting. I'm like this hamster on a wheel, but I'm never getting like enjoyment out of anything. I'm just like moving forward to move forward and check things off and like hope that the accolades come and like the praise and the acknowledgement of like, oh, wow, you're so good. You like did ABC and like we can tangibly see what you've done. And in that moment where you can't tangibly see something I've done, I'm like, oh, I'm a failure. Mm-hmm. And like, that's such a twisted perspective on things, I think.
Yeah, like being results oriented instead of like process oriented, like that makes a huge difference. Like that's like stepping on the scale and it's like, oh, scale still didn't go down, but it's like, okay, but you got stronger in the gym. You're sleeping better. You're drinking all the water you're supposed to. You've increased your veggies. Like, so instead of focusing, like you're just focusing on one single end result,
right?
Instead of like focusing on all the things you have done or in taking enjoyment out of all the things that you've done. So I think learning to enjoy the process, it makes such a huge difference to your success. It makes you happier. And like, if you're a happier person, typically it's easier to make good choices. You're not going to be like miserable and wanting to like binge eat or like go into depressive episodes or whatever it may be. It's just a lot more easier to be successful if you focus on enjoying the process.
Okay, so I mean, it sounds so easy to you. Like it's been a theme in our like entire relationship. It's like it just comes so naturally to you. It's like how I see it from the outside looking in. It's like every decision you make, everything you do, every time we're together. Like another story, it's like Granville. Ugh. When we went to Granville, it's like
that was the first time it happened, and I didn't bring it up because I'm like, maybe it's a one-time occurrence and it's fine. Nope, this is Taylor's hardwiring in his brain.
If you've never been to Granville Island in Vancouver, it's a place that is not busy. There's a lot of bodies moving around, and it's a pretty cool place. So people gawk, and they just like don't walk very fast, and they look around at everything, and they enjoy everything and take it all in. And when I was there, I was like, what are we doing?
What's the purpose?
We're getting macaroons? Okay, cool. Here's the macaroons. Now let's get out of this crowd of people. And I completely took away from the whole experience. And that was like what started the ball rolling for us to like have these conversations. But like I already know where it comes from because we've talked about this before. But for everyone listening and watching this right now, it's like, where do you get that drive that you have, but also like that ability to enjoy every aspect of the process? And like you still have checklists. Like she's got checklists out the yang. Like I've seen them. They're big.
Yeah.
But it's not the aspect of just checking it off. It's like that's what keeps you organized. And there's nothing wrong with checklists.
No, nothing wrong with it.
But like, yeah, walk the listeners, the viewers, the people, walk us through that, like how you have that like so naturally. Like, was it easy? Did it come like quick? Like what did it?
Well, I've always been very like goal oriented, like sports, academics, all that stuff. But I was very like internally motivated because I saw like the value in it.
Okay.
And I knew like doing well in school and like enjoying the process of learning and growing, I would get more out of it, and it would likely make me more hireable, or I could write better and get scholarships or whatever. So I saw like an internal purpose to it. But the biggest influence was definitely my mom. So like, for people who don't know, childhood was like actually pretty rough. People assume from like success and stuff that things came easily and that I had like a great, happy family life, which is like super opposite. My dad was not a good person. And we struggled like a lot. And like my dad was like abusive, emotionally, physically, all that kind of stuff to my mom, to myself, my sister. And like, he did not condone us like playing sports. He did not condone us. Like he didn't want me to go to university because he told me it was a waste of time and money and I would make more money in the end working as a cashier at a grocery store. Like my place is at home and blah, 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 and all the crazy things. And so like my mom and my sister lived in fear of him a lot. I was like the brave older sister or whatever. But like, even though money was tight and I was working at like 14 and helping pay bills and stuff, my mom did everything she could to enjoy the process. Like she worked 2 jobs. She would wake up at like 4 a.m, go work in the pig barns at a job she absolutely hated, but like still enjoyed the process and the people that she was with and building connections and enjoying that along the way. Like I remember going to work with her one day for go to work day or
Bring your
whatever.
kid to work day.
Yeah. I was not excited because at the time my dad was a garbage truck driver and my mom worked in a pig barn. So I was like, I don't know which one of these smells least, but I don't think it's going to be a good time. But
so wait, you said which one of these smells least and you chose the pigs?
Well, I chose the pigs more because would rather spend time with
okay,
mom
that's super valid.
But and she definitely made the best out of like legitimately a crappy situation in like more ways than one.
Mm-hmm.
But like her coworkers, like they would just embrace the suck a little bit, like the crappy things and make it fun. Like you'd find dead mice all the time. And like Wes was one of the guys that my mom worked with and he would put the dead mice in your shoes with their hands crossed and like the head on its chins and it'd be just sitting on your shoelaces like that. Or like, yeah, just super not great things. But like they would make it fun. Like you're here anyways, like why not enjoy it? And like same with like stuff with my dad, when he wasn't around, my mom would do everything to like make us have fun and like try and protect us as best as she could. And like, I mean, we were at a point where I was helping pay bills because like my dad just pieced out and wasn't wiring money like he was supposed to when he went traveling. And I mean, he went to Mexico on a vacation and left us alone and that's just kind of how it was and mold on windowsills and whatever. But like we made the best out of like crappy situations. And I think that's just where I learned it from is like life can be pretty crappy. And then obviously losing mom too. It's like life is short. Time's going to pass. You may as well enjoy it and like make the best out of like a crappy situation and just enjoy the crappy stuff, honestly, is what it comes down to.
Embrace the suck is like...
Where'd that come from? Someone else said that.
Ed Milet, I think.
Oh, we love him so much.
Yeah, great. If you haven't listened to him, do it.
Life-changing, honestly.
But like even like when I played football, like we were in a crappy little town. The town wasn't crappy. The coaches that we had were crappy. And like as a team, we like came together and embraced the suck and like became like strong in a group of like brothers and like so many friends that I still have today, like all over the country, this country and another. But I think like when you were saying that, like what I see shining out of you and like what so many people, like my family and everyone that meets you for the first time sees out of you and experiences from you is like you enjoy the process on things. So you're a joy to be around. Like you're a light to be around. And like, as you're talking about like your mom, I'm like, Mama V was just like a light to be around. Yeah. Like anywhere she was, she's in a pig barn having a terrible time. And like, she's a light to her coworkers. And like, just your attitude has so much effect, not on just you, but on everyone around you. And I think that's like something that I'm really coming to terms with in my own life is like, I can be such a bulldozer and I can be so aggressive. And like, I never took the time to stop and be like, oh, how's this affecting like people around me? Like I wasn't being a light that like people wanted to be around or like gravitated to, which is like where that mindset shift and just everything that you've been taught from such a young age has created this like, yes, you've been through trials and tribulations, but your mom was such a light like throughout that all. And like she witnessed that to you guys. And like now you're able to like carry on that like light legacy of just like enjoying the process, being present, like being present is like the biggest thing I find is like what I've learned from you.
Well, like we went through like a very, very short stint in time where like it felt like we had abundance and then like my dad gambled and all that kind of stuff and things just slippery slope and things got bad pretty quick. And like, but the things that I remember isn't like this, like the toys or that kind of stuff. Like the things that I genuinely remember is like walking with my mom to the park, going grocery shopping, and like having our own little grocery lists, or like she made
kids shopping carts. Yeah.
Loved them. But you know, like she'd give us like a list with like 3 things and we'd have to look for them. But it's like, we enjoyed the process of grocery shopping. We enjoyed the process of like going for a walk. My mom didn't drive for like the longest time. So we would make a game of like, when we were walking and stuff, like it would take us like an hour sometimes to get places. And it's like, but we made games to enjoy the process of like walking wherever we had to go, or, you know, things like that. Or it's like, okay, this is all we have in the fridge this week. What are we doing? What are we? So it's like just trying to enjoy the process and the people that you're with during that process, I think is like huge. And I think that's a huge thing that comes out of like doing these behavior changes and things like that. It's like you kind of change your perspective on things. And like family ties get so much better and things like that. And like, I think of like my grandpa too, because he was like a guy who like never got worked up. And I always tell the story where like we're sitting at Christmas supper and like my grandma accidentally spilt some wine all over the coffee table. So, or the tablecloth. So she's like cleaning and all frantic and freaking out. And my grandpa's just kind of like laughing. Because like typical, this would happen. And she like lifted up his plate to like clean, and he just continued to eat off the plate, like was so unbothered and just enjoying the food and being there. And that's just like, but I think that's something that like my grandpa passed down to my mom and my mom passed down to me. And it's like,
and you pass down to our kids.
Yeah. So it's just like, I don't know. I think it just makes everything so much easier because like, I mean, I got bullied a ton in school, didn't have a ton of friends. Okay, I just spent more time like studying, enjoying that to like hopefully better myself for later. Like, and that's like the delayed gratification stuff too. It's like, okay, things really suck right now, but they're going to get better if I just keep at it. But that's again, enjoying the process and not being outcome oriented as much, but more process oriented. Okay, I need to do well on this exam because that'll help me get a higher grade in this class, which will boost my GPA, which will hopefully make it easier for me to get into university and all these things. So like you're still focusing on little goals to get you to your big goal, but you're still enjoying the process and understanding the value of the process. If that kind of makes sense.
Big time.
Yeah.
It's impressive. It's like, but it's not like, I think the biggest thing is like, yes, the first like thing is quick like that because the first thing is like awareness and like wanting to change that. But like, it's like we've talked, it's like, unless it's internal, like you're going to revert back to the same behaviors. Like external, like wants for you to change is like other people telling you need to work on this, do this, whatever. And it's like other people in the past have told me like, oh, you got to slow down. And I'm like, why? Like, why would I slow down? Like when I can go fast. But now like understanding like what slowing down actually does for like myself, my health, my relationships, just like holistically everything around me from like internalizing some things and like really, you know, like self-reflection and being like, why do I tick the way that I do? Why am I hardwired this way? And I think of like my sports like career. Like I played college football. I was like trying to make it to the Olympics to go like slide skeleton. And in all of these times and like all of these things that I was chasing in my life, I was never enjoying the process of it. I wasn't like in the weight room enjoying it. I was in the weight room because I had to be. I'd do the reps, count it out, cool, I'm out of here. I didn't care about like nutrition and fueling my body and what that looked like and all these like little details because I was so big picture. It's like, I got to play in this game. If I play well here, maybe I can look at like moving schools to a bigger market, to do this, to do that. Maybe I'll make it to the CFL one day. Like all these things were just like checklists, but it wasn't like, okay, so what are you tangibly doing to like enjoy your 5 a.m. workouts with your teammates? Nothing. We're all just miserable. We're all like, there's like 2 guys that I remember like were legitimately happy at every morning workout. And I was like, what is wrong with you two? And now I'm like, I need to go hit those guys up and be like, what were you doing back then to like make
what did you know that I didn't know?
Literally. And so it's so like, I mean, you don't want to live with like regrets and like all these like, oh, what ifs, right?
Yeah.
But it's so like, if you can frame that in such a way that's like, wow, like I could have done so much more or better or been at a different place now if I would have realized this all like back then.
Mm-hmm.
But then also taking the framework of like, but I realized it now. Like how exciting is my future and like what I'm moving forward to, what I'm working through, like what I'm enjoying the process of now. That like, I think that's the like really cool thing that I'm like learning from you is like, yeah, you don't have to like, okay, like that's who you were, where you were. That's not who you are and what you are. Like you have a choice to change that and like move through that. And it all starts with like enjoying things, like finding legitimate enjoyment in like everything. What's the like best way to like, I ask this all the time. I'm like, how do you just like find enjoyment in like cooking or like cleaning or like any of these things, like the more mundane things in life? Like, what's your best advice to like enjoy things?
Like make it fun. Pair it with something that you actually enjoy doing. So like for us, for example, if we're cooking, there's either a podcast or music playing all the time. We're pairing it with something that we actually enjoy. Like if we're planning our meals, which like people find meal prep so daunting, it takes us 10 minutes to figure out what we want to have for supper for the week. And we just like either have sports playing in the background or something, or we'll like sit outside to do it. Like that kind of stuff. You're pairing things that you don't necessarily want to do or enjoy and like pair it with something that's fun that you actually enjoy. And it's going to change like how you approach things, but also like you'll see internal changes too, because then you'll start to see the value of it. You'll like be more consistent with it. And like, I mean, we watched this on like a sermon. Was it last Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah. Last Sunday where it was like, okay, like you need to, like when you want to actually change, it's like, you have to like do it from within in terms of like doing it with love. So like, why do you want to lose weight? It's like, yes, we all want to look better in a bikini or whatever it is, but also it's like to keep up with my kids, to stay independent, to keep my health good, to stay out of a wheelchair, to be able to participate and not be like a sideline parent or a sideline grandparent. Like there's always something more. And if you can find a value in it as to what you're doing and like attach that to like love and others in some way, shape, or form, you're typically going to be so much more successful than like if you're not.
Mm-hmm. That was good.
But yeah, anything else you want to touch on?
I think that's most of it.
I think so too. I think the last thing is just like motivation is going to waver and you're going to struggle. But if you learn to actually enjoy the process, you don't need to rely on motivation anymore.
Yeah.
Because you genuinely like who you're becoming, this new version of yourself. And like, I don't know, I think it just comes down to like, enjoy the process. And if it's something that you don't like, ask yourself why you're doing it. Because like, if you don't have a good reason and you don't enjoy it, why are you doing it? That's like a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then like pair it to something you actually like and just take the time to slow down, like feeding animals. Like I love it.
Not everyone does that, but like in our life, yeah.
I love it. I love going and petting the animals and talking to them.
Yeah, so if you don't know, we live on a farm and I have
we have
12 well, yeah, we have now 12 goats, a bull, 2 pigs, 5 horses, 2 rabbits, like 20 chickens. And I don't know when you started coming with me, but like
it got less cold.
Yeah. Fair weather feeder, we'll call her. But basically, yeah, it was like, hey, I want to come feed with you. And I was like, okay. And like the first couple times I was still just like very like task driven. Like I got to get this stuff done. Like, yeah, you can come with me. Like, this is cool. This is fun. I like this time together. But I mean, even just like watching her example has like, it's a job that I do. It's what I'm responsible for and what I have to do. But for the last like 2 years, I've just treated it like a checklist. Feed the animals, water the animals, make sure they're good. Awesome. See you tonight when I do the same thing. And now it's like, oh, hey, Theo, like, how's it going, buddy? Like, let's hang out. Let's like enjoy the presence of everything around and like enjoy the aspect of everything. Like I enjoy going to feed with you in the mornings. We get to walk, we get to hold hands, we get to have just like a nice chat. on the way down. And then I get busy. I put my gloves on. I do all the feeding and like, but you're there with me the whole time. We have conversations and it's like, it's just good time together. And that was just like a perspective change for me of like, am I doing this just to do it? Or am I doing this to get something out of it? And now I'm able to get something out of it because I'm able to be like more present while I'm doing it.
Yeah, like it's fun to like acknowledge like the different personalities that they all have. And like, I like to feed them by hand sometimes, pet them. I think it's funny how they like interact and headbutt each other sometimes. Like, I just genuinely enjoyed it. And I think it's fun.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that was helpful and that you could get some tidbits that you could relate to like nutrition and training and fitness and whatever other goals that you're trying to work towards. But also just like genuine happiness and peace. Like if you enjoy the process, you will just enjoy your life. So much more time is going to pass by anyways. So why not enjoy it? And you're not going to realize how much you miss that until you lose someone you really love and then realize that you wasted time not enjoying doing things with them. Like shopping with my mom. Oh my goodness. She used to try on like the same shirt like 3 times. Be like, what do you think about this? I'm like, I already gave you my opinion. And she's like, okay. And then she'd go and change to something else and come back out. And like, but she genuinely enjoyed the process of just like shopping. And it's like, man, I would kill to do that right now and like be annoyed at her a little bit. But like, enjoy the process because you never know. Life is short.
Mm-hmm. And I think like it just comes down to like no one else can enjoy the process for you.
No.
Like you're such a light in my life and everyone's life, but like you can't enjoy the process of my everyday for me.
No, that's a you thing.
And like, so it's so internal and it's like, it actually takes like some humility and just being like, what's going on here? Like, why am I the way that I am? And why can't I do what I want to do here?
And it's going to take conscious effort and practice. It's not just going to happen.
And it doesn't just happen overnight. Like I had a bad day like a week ago and like,
It was a pretty bad day.
Everyone around me knew it was a bad day. And I'm like, I've been like, oh, I'm working on all these things. I'm like trying to enjoy the process, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, oh, did you enjoy the process this day at all? No, I didn't enjoy the process of anything that day. But I like just let it compound and let it just like get away from me. And it's like, just take time to slow down, to enjoy things the way they're meant to be enjoyed.
Yeah. And if you think about like big picture, it can be like really overwhelming. And then that can be like overstimulating and like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then just get like frustrated and like angry. And like everyone can do that with weight loss, with hormones, with everything. It can be so frustrating to just want to be where you want to be already. And like it's overwhelming because there's so many moving parts. But it's like just focus on what you're doing right now, whether that's like your meal prepping today or the meal in front of you and like trying to eat it in the right order, whatever that looks like, but just enjoy it. Just enjoy it.
ENJOY.
Oh
Enjoy. Spelling bee champion.
You've never been in a spelling bee.
No one knows that until you just told him.
He uses that line all the time.
Grade 3 spelling bee champion.
Lies.
Didn't even have a spelling bee in grade 3, but if we would have, I would have competed.
I'm glad you said competed and not win.
Up here, I was thinking win.
I know you were. Okay. Thank you all, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this and talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.